My fellow race fans, given the events of this past week, I feel compelled to announce my willingness to be hired as NASCAR's next president. I want to be abundantly clear that this video is not about me nor my own personal gain, but it's about you, because I know, like me, you are some of the most passionate and dedicated fans in all of sports. I also want to say that a guy holding a sign never could have imagined what would actually happen. This newfound attention has been overwhelming and strange and difficult to get used to. It's been a tough balance of trying to stay humble while also having a positive mindset and not letting my ego get in the way. It's been difficult, to say the least, but I do feel like I have an obligation to make this video to tell you what I will do if I were to be hired as the next president of NASCAR. So I do appreciate you as the race fan and the support that you've given me. In my first weeks on the job, I will be directing our marketing and operational teams to develop a campaign that we're going to call Winning Back the Grandstands, with a tagline of "You built us, let's do it again." This campaign is going to clearly acknowledge the fact that we have alienated you as our hardcore group of fans in the sake of chasing money and new markets. We're going to completely acknowledge the fact that we failed you, and we're going to humbly invite you, but not force you, to come back and give us another chance. This new campaign is going to have some critical pillars. The first, we're going to change the points. We know that the full season championship is what built this sport, and we're going to bring it back because we know that you fell in love with that. Next, we're going to work aggressively to promote our drivers and their personalities and their rivalries. We know that you fell in love with these drivers back in the day, and sadly, political correctness and sponsor obligations have gotten in the way of doing just that. We're going to work with our teams to make sure that they have adequate marketing resources to do this, to make sure that our drivers are more than just faces on a television screen, but they are real people that you can connect to. We're also going to abandon the charter system and compensate teams fairly and come up with a new financial model. We're going to make sure that we are fiscally responsible, that everybody involved gets an adequate share of the pie so that we can grow and become more stable in the future. I'm going to be clear, this is going to take time and tremendous risk, but I am confident that this will pay off in the future in ways we could never imagine. We're going to work with the manufacturers and the race teams to develop a new car that both races better and is affordable for all teams. We're going to make sure that this car is not spec. We're going to take inspiration off of the cars that you liked, that made racing great, and that you fell in love with. We want to make sure that the racing product is as best as it's ever been, just like it was back in the glory days when you felt truly cared about. We're also going to work with our TV partners to make sure our broadcasts are as compelling as they possibly can. We're going to make sure that we bring both the enjoyment and the responsibility back to our broadcast teams to make sure that they present our racing product in the most entertaining, enjoyable, and responsible ways. As a part of this Win Back the Grandstands campaign, we're going to target the demographics that we forgot about, the ones that we overlooked. We know that race fans come from all demographics, all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds, but we're going to make sure that the rural, blue-collar, hardworking American race fan that built our sport feels included once again. We know that we've abandoned you, and we are terribly embarrassed for that, because we owe everything to you guys. I also want to make sure that our fan experiences at our racetrack are the best in the nation. I will take inspiration from greats like Humpy Wheeler and the Savannah Bananas to make sure that you are thoroughly entertained, not just by the racing product, but by other forms of entertainment throughout race weekends. I will make sure that you can leave with a smile on your face, guaranteed. I'm also going to make sure that any talented drivers who have been forced out of the sport because of a lack of funding are reached out to and given positions back in the sport in various capacities. This has been tremendously unfair to those folks because we know the generation before them could make a living and determine their spot in the sport based on their talent and not their finances. So I want to make sure that any driver who has felt hurt, who has felt abandoned, who has felt disenfranchised by this sport feels valued. Now, you can respond in various ways. You can be angry with us, but do know that I will welcome you back with open arms. We're also going to make sure that all parties involved have a long-term plan to rebuild financially. We know that the financial model is broken, and we know that rebuilding it is going to take tremendous time, effort, and sacrifices. There's going to be a ton of risk involved, but I am confident that in the long run, we will build ourselves back to being the sport where you can come and turn a profit in. We're going to work with our existing partners to make sure that they can build their ROI once again. We know that the B2B model is what works now for us, but we want to make sure that going forward, there is tremendous ROI for the parties that are currently involved and for potential new sponsors as well going forward. We want to make sure that our stakeholders are in alignment with where we are going, because this vision, like I said, is a make or break vision for us. Aside from this campaign, we want to make sure that we're investing in our local racing. We know that more than ever now, tracks are struggling. Aside from this campaign, we also want to rebuild our ladder system, where we prioritize drivers with talent over drivers with money. We know that the hard-working blue-collar driver are the folks that you fell in love with many years ago. And we want to make sure that we bring those back so that you can identify with those hard-working men and women on the track as one of you. We're going to make sure that we can build strategic campaigns to do this while also remaining financially responsible for all parties involved. This will take tremendous time. It'll take tremendous effort and tremendous risk. But I am confident that in 20 years, our flock of drivers are all going to be folks who came from the blue-collar racetracks that you fell in love with. I do want to be very clear that through my term as presidency, that I'm going to make no bones about our downfall and how we fell and how I plan to bring us back up. It's going to be difficult. I'm putting my neck on the line for the love of the sport. I am a young man, and so I know I have many years ahead of me. And so I will govern this sport tightly to make sure that the benefits of all parties involved benefit greatly, but most importantly, that you, the fans, feel valued and feel entertained by the racing product that we will develop. I want to make sure also that all parties involved, all stakeholders, make a profit. Because we know that when you make profit, there's going to be more attention given, more enjoyment, and more people that get our eyes in the sport. So we want to make sure that we can develop strategies that may be risky up front, but that have a long-term success going forward in the future. And finally, this campaign of winning back the grandstands and my desire to become the next president is because I care deeply about this sport. This sport has shaped my life. I am a lifelong fan. And like I said, I'm a young man in my 20s. And given the responsibility of this great sport and the blessing of those who came before us, I'm going to make sure that we are going to become successful once again. So I thank you so much for listening to this, and y'all mean the world to me. Thank you.